What's up, people lovers? I did decide to cast less or take a break from casting for now and want to focus way more on playing. Obviously, the German that I am, I'm not just going to jump into the ladder grind without a plan. And I did ask, what would you be interested? What would you like to see on Twitter? And the most votes got reaching top 10 in the 1v1 ladder. Obviously, that does not mean that I'm top 10 in the world. It is just a number, but obviously I need to heavily improve, and that is a nice thing to follow for sure. So we will have that as the goal. Could take us quite some time. I think yesterday I started at rank 99. That's probably lower than I deserve, but still a tough grind, especially if MBL has like 3 nicks in the top 5 in front of us as well. So yeah, that's going to be a massive one, and it will be a lot of ladder grind. And for now I will play mostly random civ, will play most of the maps, but I think the moment I get into like 2-350 region, or not 2-350 region, I mean the top 20, top 25 region, I might switch to Pixiv and only selected maps. What is my plan? How do we try to get there? I created a file, you can see the link down below in the description, to basically track my skills, what do I want to improve on, and weekly goals. Let's take a look. What am I good at? I did ask my chat, sometimes I disagree, but most of the time I agree with them. They said late game awareness. Where are the hills? Where are the relics? What areas do we need to control? Where will I be vulnerable? And so forth and so on. Then a nice focus on relics, especially in Castle Age, getting those in if I get map control. Maybe try to snipe some if I don't have map control. And standard build orders. Pop 19 scouts, pop 20 scouts, you name it, I can play it. Men-at-Arms into archers, Joshua's castle. This should be pretty standard, but I will take it, right? I think people are, if they go for those situations, not often enough patting themselves on their backs and saying, okay, that's what you're good at. And in macro, probably something where I feel really comfortable if we get into an imp situation with even footing and relatively even civilizations. I think I'm better than my 2.2k peers right now. Obviously, someone like Leary, Hera will probably, will still outplay me, but that's something that we can improve on later. Getting admin wins. Really important in tournaments. One of my greatest strengths, got me sick wins over great players like Kasva, and I'm trying to improve on that one for sure. And Bombard Cannon Micro, I think that comes in quite handy for Arena. Not a lot of other maps rely on those too much though. Now the big question, where do I need to improve on? We will have Castle Age macro. I think that might be my biggest weakness right now, especially if Mangonels are on the field. Not good at that at all, and that's something we need to take a look at. Honestly, breathing. That's something that my chat often says. I'm not sure what I will do with that, but I sometimes during fights just hold my breath. And this is not directly Age of Empires related, but I think it's a bit of a shame that I'm 32 years old and still don't know how to properly breathe. But I might look into a YouTube video there and try to focus on like a constant flow. Not really sure how I will address that, but that's honestly a tiny issue, but low on the priority list, especially when it comes to improving. Preventing damage versus early aggression. I feel like I already got better at that over the last 3 days, but still, too often, 3 men-at-arms kill 2 villagers. I underreact to drushes, first scouts are getting in, and too often do I see myself already in the disadvantage at the 14-minute mark. Something that should never ever happen, and something we need to heavily rely on. Use more groups. Something I don't do too much. Most of the time I use 2 groups, including group 5 for all my TCs, not excluding. So it's kind of 3 groups, but I think I need to group more military buildings. If I have multiple fronts, I want to group more armies as well. Something I didn't really focus on. Something, for example, that Dowd is really good at. And that really helps him to compensate for his low APM. Minimap awareness. Honestly, I think I look at the minimap like 5 times a game. It's like shocking how little I look at the minimap. And not sure if I will maybe switch my mod and my UI there a bit. For example, the Less is doing a better job. Here's his minimap even bigger, resources at the bottom as well. I might switch into that one, or I just have to get into a habit looking at that for the future. And more farms. My transition in Castle Age is just so slow. Getting into more farms, getting set up for Imperial Age, just having way too many villagers on wood there. Need to spam those a bit more and just use all the wood constantly is something I need to heavily improve on. Use res in Castle Age, basically the same. That is Castle Age macro, right? It's all pretty much the same. Just wrote it down. Maybe I have some good games and can take it off. Add Inca will rush into Arsenal. Not important for the ladder grind per se, but there are often tournaments that have some wild, funky maps. And for now, Inca will rush, something I never did, something I didn't really know how to play. I think we will have a session or 2 just thinking about that one, and maybe then that's something nice to add in a draft as one of the late picks, right? And if the opponent knows, okay, Nili has a lethal Inca will rush, that could put some fear into their heads. This list obviously will be edited and will constantly be increased. Now my goals for this week, that's the 8th till 16th of February. I already did it for 3 days on Twitch now. Goal number 1 is track idle time in Castle Age. We were just watching my recorded games and it is as predicted at the top, right? Every time a mangonel pops or we have some big micro fights, DCs are idle. I'm better than like a year or 2 years ago that I sometimes queue villagers if we have micro fights, but it's not pretty. And I so rarely look at global queue as well. How many villagers do I have there? I think that will improve with massive playing time, but something I really need to focus on. And something that I will probably do on my stream today is learn the boar lure with the TC. As you know, sometimes you see that from other top players. We did initially call it the Chinese lure because I think I saw it Yo using consistently the most. Just shooting the TC with the boar. Obviously, last shot has to be from a villager, but your boar positioning is better, and you simply kill it a bit faster as well. So it should give you, I would say, like 10 extra food for each boar. Let's see if we can squeeze that. That is my goal, and I will keep that list up to date as much as I can with weekly goals. Not sure how many videos I will post. I think it could be like a blog format here. Not really the blogger, though, but still something to take a look at if you want to see what's Nili's goal at the moment. Goodbye, Apple lovers.